Hello, long time no see. I hope you had a great break end of last year and beginning of this year, because as you've probably noticed, I took a little break from making some videos. I also played very little Fab, to be honest. They're just like more important things at the end of the year with two small kids at home. Yeah, but now I'm back. The Road to National season is in full swing. Also, the world premiere in London is coming up in a couple of weeks, and I'm very excited to be traveling to London. To be honest, I will only be playing one Road to Nationals this season on January 31st, I think it's going to be. Because I need to admit, I was a little bit fed up with the changes that were made for Road to Nationals. I can totally understand why ELO is not the perfect system, but I've been climbing the ELO ladder quite a bit over the last 2 years and finally made it into like a position where in the past years I would have like qualified 100%. And with the changes with the XP that you can get from attending RTN events, it's not something that I can achieve, right? I have two small kids at home. I have a family, I have a job. So especially with the situation, how events have been deployed across Germany, where in my city, in my area here in Hamburg, which is probably one of the largest Fab player bases in all of Germany, we didn't get an event at all. And some of the other events are just like ridiculous. There's one event that is relatively close by, like 150 kilometers, which was supposed to start on a Friday at 6 p.m. So if you're working and you don't want to take a day off, or you can't take a day off, it's just impossible to go there. And then the other two events that are happening in the region that are like realistic to go there, happening on the same day at the same time. And yeah, as a father, I just can't commit driving like 300 plus kilometers for an RTN and basically commit a day and a half, kind of, if I go there in advance to be there on time for this. And I know of like a few people who are going to like 3 or maybe even 4 RTNs who will probably go like 2-3 at these events and will qualify that way, right? Because they gain enough experience. And that, to me, like that kind of grind, that's not it. Like that, at least from my perspective, and that's my perspective, right? That shouldn't be the way to qualify for Road to Nationals. And so I decided like, hey, okay, I'm definitely not doing that grind. I can't. And so I'll play this one RTN. If I qualify, I qualify. And if not, then it's a Nationals that's going to happen without me. But yeah, I hope LSS listens to a lot of feedback that I heard across the community and maybe makes changes for this next year again. All right, but that's not that was my little rant, but that's not what this video is about. But I want to get back into a bit of gameplay. And I will play Arakni Marionette at my Road to Nationals. And I have, as you know, some nemesis opponents, namely Guardians on the one hand, but also Florian has always been an issue for me. And Florian seems to be a very good deck choice right now. Florian won the recent calling in Japan just last weekend. And so I wanted to get some prep in. So I played 2 games against my friend Kristian. And yeah, we'll take a look at these 2 games in a second. But as you know, first we'll take a quick look at what I perceive to be my game plan as Arakni Marionette. Florian is a value deck, right? Florian, despite the ban of the root-bound what's the plural of carapace? I don't know. Despite the ban of the root bounds, Florian is still can still be a very defensive deck, right? Still a lot of prevention effects, a lot of defense reactions, etc. So we as Arakni Marionette need to focus on getting the most value out of our cards as possible. Brick hands can be detrimental, not as detrimental as they used to be in this matchup, but still that can definitely, bring us quite in a disadvantaged position. So really getting all of value that we can from attack reactions, getting the marks in at the right point of time is essential for us to beat a Florian. Also, and that remains to be true, that was true before the ban, that is true now, we need to be very careful and smart but a choice to use especially Codex of Frailty. If Florian has an open arsenal spot, and they do have something like a Felling of the Crown in their graveyard, we should not play Codex if we are not 100% certain that we can get this card destroyed, banished, whatsoever, right? Because them sending a Felling for free, not only it adds 3 cards to their banish zone and might make them online much faster than they should be, but also it's just such a value play for them, right? So really, we need to be smart about that. And then the other thing I already mentioned to some extent, in where if we can avoid it, we should not help Florian to get online. So playing something like a Leave No Witness early on in the game, banishing their arsenal and their top card, while it feels great in most matchups, against Florian and also against Verdance, that's not something that we should prioritize. They will get online in most of the games, and we shouldn't help them, right? Just having one Earth card already in banish gives them so much value, because all of a sudden the Felling of the Crown comes in for 8 and not only for 4. So yeah, let's avoid that until the last possible moment, or if we are like really heavily in the driver's seat. Same actually goes for Meat Madness, right? I mean, Meat Madness is a little bit more situational because of the randomness, the chaos effect, but at the end it can also bring in an Earth card into their banish. All right, that's the game plan. If you have other thoughts on this, please share in the comments. Please let me know. I'm, as you know, here to learn. But let's take a look into the first game against Kristian. To be honest, the deck list I'm using is the deck list from Kashi, the latest one. And I can only recommend this build. Kashi has so many ideas, so many good thoughts about how to approach this. All right. So our hand is a pain in the backside, Codex, Stains blue and Stains red. We probably want to pitch the Codex first. That allows us to, put it on the bottom. It's very valuable, especially in the late game. And Florian here responds with a discarded Shelter. So we don't really have a good option here to mark Florian. So I don't want to flick the Clave right here. We have another Clave attack as we can pitch the blue. And probably afterwards, we should just pass. Florian still has 3 cards in hand. We don't know about the texture because he has prevented everything thus far. And we don't want to help him get more Earth cards into graveyard early on. So I think I'm fine just doing this and putting the pain in the backside into Arsenal, as Stains just blocks more. We're drawing into another pain in the backside to the point and a blue, so we can definitely like pitch into Clave, flick to mark. We can send 2 pain in the backside and to the point. The Stains is a little bit obsolete in this hand, so we probably want to block with this to avoid damage. Also, interestingly, Florian had to pitch a Shelter, a Felling, and a Plow Under. So we definitely know that 1 Shelter and 1 Felling, the 2 most important cards here, 2 of the most important cards, are on the bottom of the deck. That's good for us to know. So we probably start with attacking with a Hunter's Clave, so pitching the Relentless Pursuit into the Clave. We could then flick the other Clave. If we hit with the flicked dagger, if we mark Florian here, to the point comes in for 4, so we could buff this to 5. And then we could come in with 2 pain in the backsides. So most likely Florian either needs to take some damage here if he wants to set something up, or he would need to block with a few of his cards. So for now, no block, but here is a Haunting Rendition. So he avoids the flick, as well as, 1 point on the Hunter's Clave, but I'm still playing the to the point to ideally mark him here. But of course, Florian has another D-React. So his first hand was really D-React flooded, and he's preventing this as well. So he still has 3 cards. I definitely want to send 1 of the pain in the backside, maybe even 2, depending on how Florian blocks here. At the end, he can still do a lot with just 1 blue in hand. Could pitch into Arachnne, or like the grasps, and then into the blade. But I don't want him to set something up. So I'm sending another pain in the backside here. Ideally, we get to mark Florian for us to transform, but in this case, he actually gives us the grasp of the Arachnne. Not ideal. I would have loved to get the mark in, but at the end, it's already one of the equipment blocks that is gone. Good for us that we're drawing into an Orb Weaver right now. I mean, we didn't have the option to use Mask of Deceit yet to transform into the Orb Weaver agent. And here he just comes in for 1 arcane and 3 physical. And we probably don't want to use any of our cards, because what we can do is we can play Cut from the Same Cloth, Orb Weaver Spinneret, maybe Pitch Meat Madness, come in for 8. The issue is we don't really have an option for Go Again right now. And so what I decide here is to actually block with the Meat Madness, because we don't have an option for Go Again. We have Tunic Resource coming up, so saving 3 life here is probably the right choice. We can then play Cut from the Same Cloth, Orb Weaver Spinneret, coming in for 8, and also knowing the texture of Florian's hand, we put the Codex into Arsenal and maybe leverage it in the next turn. And as mentioned in the game plan moment before the game, ideally we don't want to play Meat Madness anyway, because we don't want to put any cards into Spanish. So we see a Fruits, a Trot Along, an E-Strike, and a Swarming Gloomveil. So Florian definitely has the option to block quite a bit. At the end, this is just vanilla damage. And he could come in with a bit of damage for sure, but probably Florian wants to block here at least a little bit, to also keep his life total high. But actually no, okay, he's taking the more aggressive line here, probably E-Strike, Go Again, then oh no, okay, interesting, he has a Channel of the Millennium Tree here, pitching the Fruits of the Forest. So he's pitching into Arachnne, Grasp of the Arachnne. So the Rune Chat comes in for 4. 4 from Swarming Gloomveil. So let's take a look at our hand. I mean, there's another swing with a weapon coming in, so I'm fine taking the 4 here. We did some damage last turn, so it's okay to take some damage here. We're basically back to equal. And here, I mean, E-Strike, we could block for 3. But yeah, I think there are options that we have with this. We also have the Codex, right? So probably want to start with pitching the Under the Trapdoor into the Clave. Oh no, okay, yeah, I remember. I took the E-Strike line first because he can block this. Maybe he gives me 2 cards on the 5 Go Again. Maybe he just gives me 1 card. Both is fine. But now we have the Hunter's Clave afterwards. We have a React, so we can buff it up to 4. But this seems a little bit more like I'm needing the mark, right? So maybe he wants to give me a bit more block on the Hunter's Clave already to avoid the mark. And then I can play the Codex afterwards, probably taking a pain in the backside because we don't want to play Meat Madness here. And that way, ideally then finally get to mark him. But here Florian is taking 5 from the E-Strike, so he has a full grip. We are quite vulnerable for Face Purgatory, but he would probably not block this on a Hunter's Clave here. It would only be the Scar Tissue that we would need to discard. So it gives us a card here. Canopy Shelter. Okay, so we use Scar Tissue, maybe R2 over, or he has another D-React or another prevention effect. No, we're actually getting to mark him. So now we can actually use our Graphene Chelicera for 2 Go Again, because we have a resource floating and we want to play the Pain in the Backside next. So this is kind of like 2 free damage. We don't, well, obviously he loses the mark, but maybe we can get it back with the Pain in the Backside. Him keeping so many cards also might show that he has something valuable eventually in Arsenal that he wants to play. So maybe with the Frailty token, we can reduce that by 1 power. We can definitely reduce the Reaping Blades power by 1. And he also has a Channel of the Millennium Tree out, so he most likely wants to play that. Or not play that, but play something arcane so that he can make use of it. But I mean, 2 resources into Grasp is already enough for his arcane damage. So we're getting a Swarming Gloomveil here, which is good. We're preventing probably 4 damage here. Meat Madness, not ideal because he doesn't have anything in the banish yet. But I mean, we're at half life almost already. He's at half life almost. So yeah, if we get him a card in banish there, so be it. Our hand is pretty interesting because we have Savor, Kiss, and Tarantula Toxin, and we have a blue, so we could eventually even mark him before, or he gives us another card on the Hunter's Clave. So here I'm debating, should I block or should I not? I mean, 7 damage is 7 damage. But it's probably okay to go down to 15 as we are threatening quite a bit. We could use Mask here for a random flip, and maybe it would have been the right decision. I'm not sure yet. But I'm here. I'm taking the 7. The channel goes away. So Hunter's Clave. Coming in for 1. In theory, we have the option to leverage Tarantula Toxin on this Hunter's Clave. So if Florian blocks, we could use Tarantula Toxin to go up to 4. It would be more value on the Kiss of Death for sure, but yeah, ideally, I think we want to have the Go Again to give us the option to also flick the Kiss of Death, even if we don't mark him, right? I mean, Save a Bloodshed, if he blocks this, we still want to ideally try to get a mark live so that the Saver actually has more text than just the +4. And I mean, a Florian opponent, either he has another prevention effect here, another G-React, because Well Grounded is not live yet, right? So you can't make use of this. So right now, we would make 2 damage, bring him down to 22. We would mark him, which would allow our Saver plus Kiss of Death to come in for 8. Go again, draw a card, lose a life. And then we still have the Meat Madness in Arsenal. Again, not the best card, but maybe we can leverage him in a way that, he just doesn't have many options other than give us a card to block it. Let's see. Okay, so he doesn't have a prevention effect here. So he's marked now. We can play Saver. We can play Kiss of Death. Coming in for 8. I think this is a moment where if he blocks, he probably blocks so much that he will not be able to return too much. And he's far away from being live. So I feel comfortable using the Go Again option of the Stalker Steps here, because it allows me to attack him again, flick the Kiss of Death. So basically it is 3 more damage, but also it might enable me to draw another card. So the value is actually quite high. And I haven't pitched into AB this game yet. And I mean, as said, he's so far away from being live. I don't expect to pitch much into AB anyway. Okay, so it gives me 2 cards, Command and Conquer, Plow Under, and the first block of the Barkskin. Would have loved to have the Tarantula Toxin now to kill the Barkskin right away. But here we use the Stalker Steps, and he has 1 card left. So I feel okay attacking with the Meat Madness now, I think, where it allows me to deal 3 damage. Oh yeah, true. I need to attack with the Graphene Chelicera first because it's 2 free damage. Yes, I have the resource. He's marked, so we can come in for 2. This actually hits with the dagger. So he gives me the Face Purgatory here for basically no value other than 2 block, which is amazing for us. But he definitely wants to avoid me getting an easy card draw here. So we play the Meat Madness because we want to clear our arsenal. That's also important because depending on what we draw from now the flick with the Kiss of Death and then the Save a Bloodshed on hit, it might not be something that we can convert. And so we want this to be open our arsenal so that we can actually put it in there. And it's, okay, probably the worst card that we could have drawn from the Kiss of Death here under the trapdoor is probably something that we don't put into our arsenal. So Meat Madness hits the top deck, and now we just need to hope that it's not an Earth card, and it's not. It's a Trot Along. So we've done everything right, not punished. which is good. But yeah, we are now like, we're the one doing pressure right now. Okay, so we definitely get an arcane damage here. We can't prevent it anymore. We block with our under the trapdoor here. Can put the Fate Foreseen into Arsenal, and our turn is just like, attack with a Clave and the Persuasive Prognosis. And this allows us to either play the To The Point on the Hunter's Clave to ideally get him marked, which I probably do here, right? So that would allow for the Graphene to come in for one more, or he needs to commit more, and so he does. He commits a Fate Foreseen. So we get 2 cards from him on our 1-card play, basically. And now we can come in with a Graphene Chelicera, which is absolutely wasted because we can do much more damage. But I mean, there is an option where we are threatening more damage because we have an attack reaction or something. So yeah, we're fine putting the Fate Foreseen into Arsenal and let Florian come in with 2 cards. Our hand is good-ish, but he is able to decompose now. So Cadaverous Tilling should come in for 8. And 8 is a lot of damage. I mean, basically everything, every attack now, every decompose attack is live because he has something in Banish already. He doesn't have an Arsenal, so maybe we block with Leave No Witnesses and the Fate Foreseen, and then we just play E-Strike, bottoming the stains of the red back, putting the Savor Bloodshed into Arsenal, allowing us to make use of this, ideally, the turn after. So I end up blocking with the stains and the Fate Foreseen. We see an Inertia Trap on top. That is okay. We want to play one for sure. If I now play E-Strike and then put the Leave No Witnesses on bottom, I think that would be the wrong call because I don't have a Leave No Witness yet in Graveyard. So I would have preferred to block with the Leave No Witnesses to give me the option to play Leave No Witnesses off of a Codex. Because I haven't played, well, I've played 1 Codex, right? Yeah. So there will be another one coming soon, I guess. So opponent is blocking all of the 7 damage. So yeah, Florian's still leading here, but still a good chunk away from being online. Okay, so we have Savor, Bloodshed, we have, we can play Stains on our Graphene, we have a blue to pitch, we have Meat Madness to close things out, and we also have an Inertia Trap to avoid damage, but unfortunately, Florian's playing a Command and Conquer, so we need to block 6 somehow, so I quickly decide to use Meat Madness and Stains. I want to keep the blue to play Hunter's Clave, and then also the Savor Bloodshed. I want to put the Inertia Trap into Arsenal. Yeah, so at the end, we're threatening 6 or 7 damage. Most likely not a draw, because he will, I guess, put something in front of the Hunter's Clave here. Okay, he's giving us 2 equipment pieces, so Bark Skin is gone, Grasp, not gone, but doesn't block anymore. Good for us, I'm fine with this, and now we're coming in 4-5 with a Graphene Chelicera. He needs to basically give us 6 block here, because we could flick the Clave. We haven't seen much retrieve yet, so I would definitely feel comfortable flicking here, but I don't need to because he gives me 6 block, E-Strike, and the Millennium Tree, putting Inertia Trap into Arsenal, and we go into the next turn. And there we see his first Felling that he can play, so it's coming in for 8. We probably should block at least 3, if not 6. We have the Inertia Trap, so we can actually block this out in full. We can't control what we're hitting from the mask, but it's fine. Let's see what it brings. Okay, so it's 8 blocked with the Inertia Trap. He gets an Inertia. He doesn't have anything anymore, so unfortunately no value off of that, but we don't take damage. And what we probably should do, we want to get him marked because that just enables a lot of our options. And Florian, I clearly see that Florian tries to avoid getting marked if he can avoid it. So what we do is play Pain on the backside. And then depending on how he blocks, we can decide that we either just like drop the Obweaver Spinneret via the Arakni attack reaction. We do this, so it comes now in for 6, and maybe we deal him another damage, and we block. We mark him, and he goes down to 13. He keeps 3 cards, so let's see what Florian can convert from this. But at least from a live total standpoint, we are equal again. But he definitely has a bit of the upper end. Ooh, okay, but this hand is kind of nice. We have a tunic resource coming up, so we can play Graphene. We have 4 from the Cut the Same Cloth. We have 4 from the To the Point because he's marked. And eventually we have 6 from the Toxin. That's a lot of damage. Here, the Rune Rager Swarm in blue, we just take it. It's 1 damage. We can block with a Death Touch if need be. So depending on what he sends now. Okay, it's a Swarming Gloom Veil. So he's coming in with another 6. So we block Death Touch, and then ultimately we'll take 4. So we go down to 7. But our hand is quite threatening. So we definitely get some blocks. And ideally, we also bring Florian down to quite a low life total. Let's see. And the upside with Cut from the Same Cloth, we get to see Florian's hand and can make more informed decisions. So what does Kristian have in hand? A Sink, Canopy Shelter, Summer's Fall, and a blue Rune Rager Swarm. Typical Runeblade hand that doesn't do much, but, well, it still throws 4. But here we come in for 6. He can block with quite a bit. I guess he'll block with a Canopy Shelter for sure, and then he can play the Sink, maybe sinking one of the blues to get more value. The good thing is we know that he has a Sink, and he probably will play this, so we can wait with the Tarantula Toxin to get 6 value out of it. So currently he's blocking 6. We'll go up to 13. He's blocking 3 then, so we'll get him down to 3 life. And so quickly the tables have turned, right? I mean, Florian was constantly in a life lead advantage, but now with our very efficient cards, we actually were able to get quite an advantage. And here our next hand is Gas as well. We have the Up Sticks and Run. We have Kiss of Death. Tarantula works very well together. We also have the Inertia Trap. Good thing about Kiss of Death is we have our dagger attack. We don't need a resource. And here, Florian. Okay, the Germinate didn't have Go Again. I was wondering, like, why didn't he attack with a Reaping Blade? But yes, it doesn't have Go Again, so he has 2 embodiments, which can help him block here. But, I mean, we have Tarantula Toxin. He needs to block with something, otherwise he's dead. So it's pretty guaranteed that we get 6 value out of Tarantula Toxin and can still put the Inertia Trap into Arsenal to block on the next turn, because I don't think that we can kill him here. Actually, here I tried to bait the Well-Grounded utilization with a Flick, because he knows it would be 1 damage to him, and it would be 1 more on the Kiss of Death. He needs to use it at 1 point, right? And I think I only have seen 1 Up Sticks, maybe 2, so there should be at least 1 or 2 other retrieve options for me. So yeah, I felt comfortable doing this here in the late game. I need to do it at 1 point. And yeah, here we can get the Germinate to only block nothing. So here's still a prevention. So yeah, right now he would still take 4 damage. He would go down to 1. Maybe, let's see, maybe he has another D-React here. And he does. He has a Hold the Line. But we're still dealing 1 damage and then the Kiss of Death on it. So 2 in total. He's down to 3. And yeah, our hand is okay, I would say. We have the Inertia Trap, which we can leverage now to block here. And so we probably want to pick up the point. Then I guess he blocks 3, otherwise he would be dead. We then play the Shred, because that would put him down to 1, or he needs to use another reaction. We can get the Hunter's Clave back by pitching the Codex of Inertia here. Okay, so we play the Shred on the Autumn's Touch. He goes down to 1, and we can flick, for example, the Chelicera. If he doesn't have a prevention effect, we won this game. And I mean, even if he has a prevention effect, we can still leverage the Codex of Frailty. I don't think we have a Leave No Witnesses, but still, I think we have. But so he used the Everblue Life to gain 1 life, so he's at 1. And now we have 1 resource, so we can use the Death Touch. It's basically coming in for 8, 6 damage. He needs to discard a card. So he's dead already. We could also give him a Blood Rot Pox token. Yeah, so we won this game. But one game is not enough, as you know. So what we decided is we play a quick second game. So let's take a look at the second game here. All right, so I get to start again. Starting hand, it's a blue, it's an Orb Weaver, cut from the same cloth, and a Tarantula Toxin. Pretty nice starting hand. We definitely want to try to get a mark in. Maybe we can already establish some damage, especially with a Tarantula Toxin turn 0. That would be kind of nice. So we want to flick the Clave here, then want to play the Orb Weaver Spinneret, at least. Could think about playing cut from the same cloth, but I think it's better if we just put that into Arsenal. Okay, so he blocks with a Plowanda. We get the mark in. He's down to 39. So now Orb Weaver attacking with a Chelicera, which should come in for 5 then. And we can buff it up to 8 with a Toxin. He's probably only blocking 6, I would assume. And then we can get him 6 damage in. Do I see that correctly? 8, he's blocking 2. Yeah, so we get him 6 damage. So 7 damage in total, turn 0. That's quite nice. It's down to 33, and we have a buff in Arsenal. That was a good turn 0 from us, I would say. Next hand is a little bit more troublesome. I mean, we have 2 buffs. We have Upsticks. We have the cut from the same cloth. We have it to the point to push damage over. We could use the stains to pitch into the Graphene Chelicera, but he's using a Felling of the Crown, so we need to bottom a card. And here I want to bottom the stains of the red back. I want to block with a Death Touch, I suppose, or we use that as a, oh no, we can use that as a pitch card, or we can put it into Arsenal. Probably Arsenal is the right choice. It's just 4 damage. We did so much damage turn 0 that this should be fine. And here I play cut from the same cloth, and I should play Upsticks and run and use the to the point to pitch into Chelicera. We come in for 9 and then put the Death Touch into Arsenal. I was thinking about pitching with the Upsticks for a second here because I felt, maybe I need the retrieve later on in the game. But as mentioned in the upfront before the game, we need to use every point of value that we can get. So here comes Upsticks. We pitch the to the point, and we send 9 damage. So it needs to block to some extent. We can ideally put the Death Touch into our arsenal. Oh, and by the way, we saw the hand, right? It's Swarming, Sink, Autumn's Touch, Everbloom Life. Let's see. I think he's blocking Face Purgatory here. Interesting. So Swarming, Everbloom, and Face Purgatory. So he draws a card. I discard the Death Touch, which is, I mean, it sucks. We would have been on Tunic counter, so it would have been maybe a free Death Touch to some extent, which would have been nice. But at the end, it didn't destroy my turn, right? So I think the value he got off here from Face Purgatory is not super high. And here comes a Hold the Line on top of things, which is the card he must have drawn from the Face Purgatory. So he still has a Sink and a blue in hand, plus their arsenal. I'm fine with this. Okay, so let's take a look at what Kristian is doing here. He's pitching into Grasp with a blue, I suppose. And then sending Reaping Blade. Yeah, so 4 damage. My hand works quite well, so I think I'll just keep it. We want to pitch into Hunter's Clave, and then we can decide, do we want to go Scar Tissue and have him marked ideally already. Then we can flick the Graphene Chelicera. We can get a new one with Orb Weaver and play the cut from the same cloth. So for more damage. Okay, but he hits us with a Shelter. I still want to flick the Graphene Chelicera, depending on what other thing he has. I mean, yes, he prevents this, but I make a new one anyway, and just like getting one of the prevention effects off of him is already good enough, I think. Here I use this Scar Tissue because I want to either bait another defense reaction from him on this Hunter's Clave or to get him marked. So that would mean my Orb Weaver comes in for one more, but I knew he had the sync. So yeah, this is already getting us the sync below out. He has put a card on the bottom. So let's see if that was valuable for him or not. We will see his hand anyway now with the cut from the same cloth. It's 2 blues. So he can definitely block with 1, but then he needs to decide, does he want to block with 2 and only take 1 damage, or does he want to send back 4, which is most likely what he's going to do. But he hasn't used his arsenal yet, so I would assume there is like an attack to some extent in there. He could have played that card already last time. Okay, it's another sync. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so he's blocking all 8 here. He has a blue, so he's coming in for 4 again, but not advancing the game state much further. And we have a fade. We have a blue and a red Stains of the Redback and a Codex. So yeah, I would love to maybe play the Death Touch if that is possible. Let's see. It's certainly possible, but we need to think how we do this. Okay, so I probably use the Fate Foreseen here and see what we have on top of the deck. It is an Inertia Trap. That's a fine Codex Panda target, so let's keep it there. And what we can do is we can pitch into the Hunter's Clave. Ideally hit, that would be best. Then we use the remaining resource from the blue Stains on the Graphene Chelicera. If we hit with the mark, we can play the Stains of the Redback for free. If not, we would need the Tunic resource, but that is also my way to play the Death Touch. And here he immediately has a Hunting Rendition, so he's preventing 2 here, which is unfortunate. So we can definitely not play it this way. So what we can do now is just to probably use we attack with the Graphene. We could use the resource from the Tunic to play the Stains of the Redback, so we would deal 3 damage and would get go again. Then we could play the Codex, but at the end he also has a Felling still in his graveyard, so I don't really want to play it this way. And so when he's playing the Haunting Rendition to block, I just decide, okay, like I don't use the resource, I don't use Stains. Either it helps me next turn or it blocks, but yeah, we don't need to make use of this here. So he's coming for 1 Arcane. I take that, and then we can block for 3, but let's take a look at that. I mean, yeah, this is a classic. We just use the Inertia Trap, I think. We have a Codex in hand, 1 in Arsenal. We have an E-Strike and a Stains of the Redback. So we could theoretically come in for 5 with the E-Strike, buttoning the Stains. We could then use the Codex of Frailty to pitch into Hunter's Clave to come in for 1 and put it on bottom of deck so we can use it later. And then we can play the Codex, take the Death Touch, use the Tunic resource to come in for another 6, and then if it hits, we can decide if it's Blood Rot, Pox, or if it's Inertia, depending on how Florian's hand looks like. Okay, so we get a Grass Block and a Swarming Gloomveil, blocking the 5, that's fine for us. We send a Clave, pitching the Codex. Let's see if he blocks this as well. So far, he has been very determined in blocking the Hunter's Clave, and he does with, I think it's his 3rd shelter that he's discarding, if I remember correctly, maybe the 2nd. But yeah, we play the Codex, we choose the Death Touch, we use Tunic resource, we send the Death Touch. He's preventing 1, so he's still 5 damage that he would need to block, or he gets another disease. But we get a Tome, we get a Channel of the Millennium Tree, we put the cut from the same cloth in Arsenal, and he's just passing turn. Oh, and here we do have quite a lot of damage, and we can probably make use of the Codex of Inertia quite well here. So we probably want to play a buff and then attack with the Hunter's Clave, I would say. That comes in for 5. Or we could actually play a second buff up front, yeah. It makes even more sense. And Hunter's Clave coming in for 9, because we have seen the hand, and it's a Trot Along, a Germinate, an E-Strike, and a Plow Under, so it's technically 12 block. But in order to block this, he needs to give me most likely 3 cards. So yeah, just coming in with a very strong Hunter's Clave here feels better, because we can now, well, we can't guarantee, but his hand is also very good offensively, right? So maybe he keeps it. He gets the mark here. And now we can play Savor Bloodshed. Now we can play Codex of Inertia. And let's see what we get. Oh, a Tarantula Toxin. Well, that's awesome, of course. Because he will most likely block this now, because I get to draw a card. Even if he doesn't block this, I can still attack for another 9. But yeah, he will throw something in front of this. Maybe even the Bark Skin. That would be nice. I mean, 1 less value in this moment, but a lot more value down the line with it being destroyed. And he also has the Inertia, so if he can't convert his hand, his arsenal would go below deck. Okay, so we get E-Strike and Plow Under. We can make use of our Tarantula Toxin. I mean, what an insane draw from Codex of Inertia. So he will take 6 here, and we draw a card, which is another Tarantula Toxin. Nice. But not, we can't leverage it. Okay, so we put it into Arsenal. It's a good Arsenal target. And now we have 3 Meat Madness and a Kiss of Death. Wow. He's playing a channel, so most likely Grasp and then attack with a Reaping Blade. And because of the texture of my hand, first of all, I don't take the Arcane, but I want to block with the Mask of Deceit. Rolling into any of the agents except for number 6 is okay here, because that helps me to just convert my hand way better. Inertia didn't have an effect the way he played. But now we probably need to commit the Stalker Steps. But because we have a Kiss of Death, our Tarantula Toxin in Arsenal is most likely 6 value, and we can discard one of the Meat Madness for the Funnel Web. So to bring it up to 9 attack and eventually even reducing his blocking power by 3. Okay, so we get another Grasp. So we use the Stalker Steps. We use the Funnel Web. And then we use the Tarantula Toxin. Obviously, we're losing the 1 value off of the Tarantula Toxin. It's just 5 and not 6, because they only block with like a 2 block in with the Tome of Harvest. But still, we're going up to 9. He's only blocking 1, so if there's no D-React coming in anymore, he takes 9 damage in total. So he's down to 10, and now we can throw another Meat Madness and flick the Kiss of Death, which would be technically another 5 now. I guess he's blocking the Meat Madness. Let's see. But he's definitely taking 2 from the Flick Knives. Otherwise, he would have probably used a Shelter already. He's not blocking here, so we get 2 from the Flick Knives. We hit the Meat Madness, and let's take a look what we're banishing. Hopefully hand. And it is banished card from Arsenal. Okay, unfortunate. No value, but also no further Earth card in his banish zone. So Well Grounded is still not online. He's down to 4. Looks pretty precarious for him. Yes, Channel's still around, but I'm at 25. So I can tank damage here and still threaten lethal next turn, I suppose. Okay. Felling of the Crown, so 4 Arcane. And I is coming for 8, and I need to bottom a card. Given the texture of my hand, I probably want to put the Codex of Inertia on the bottom, because it would be quite difficult to make use of this. And I see more value from, I mean, Pick Up the Point is a hat jab, practically. Shred can come in handy either for pitching to like the Clave and Graphene, or we could use it on the Kiss of Death, for example, to seal the game. Now we also have the Meat Madness still in Arsenal. Okay, so Codex of Inertia goes down. I take 8 here. I go down to 13. But Florian is only at 4. So we start with Pick Up the Point. We can't make use of the Retrieve here. Unfortunate, but okay. Still needs to block this, otherwise he would be dead by flicking. He now, Well Grounded is now online because of the Decompose last turn. But here we can come in with a Kiss of Death. In theory, we could still flick the Hunter's Clave to bait the Well Grounded here. Having the Shred in hand might help us to get some damage through with a Kiss of Death here, depending on how he blocks. He is blocking 4, so we could block this for 2. We could reduce the damage by 2. This is probably where I make a mistake. I mean, with the Hunter's Clave or the Graphene flick, I kind of like want to bait the Well Grounded. And here he's missing the Well Grounded, so we go back a step. So I flick the Shalissra because I want to keep the Clave around. And he uses the Well Grounded. So there's still one prevention on the Kiss of Death. And so I use the Shred, reducing Canopy Shelter by 2, so it blocks only 2, but there's still one prevention, so he literally takes no damage. I should have just kept the Shred here and leveraged it in my next turn. Okay, so Channel has one more attack. He pitches into Grasp. He uses Reaping Blade, so he's coming in for 4 and 3. But I have 2 attack reactions. I have a Pain in the backside. I have a Meat Madness still in Arsenal. So yeah, I probably want to keep everything around here. Go down to 5. It's okay. Channel is gone. Now we can start with the Pain in the backside. He needs to give us a 3 block. He's down to 3 cards. We can then attack with a Hunter's Clave. And if he does not respect that enough, then the +6 with the 2 to the point should be enough. So he's giving us the Bark Skin. He's not respecting this enough. Maybe he has another D-React in hand. Let's see. But yeah, with 2 to the point and another Meat Madness afterwards, this should probably be game. Yeah. Cool. That's the 2 games we played yesterday. So let's take a quick look at the review. I think throughout both games, most of my decisions were okay. I think, especially in the later stages of the game, I was able to keep the pressure high, right? There were nice combos with Kiss of Death and Tarantula or Graphene, and that's what you need if you want to outvalue Florian. Probably I was lucky in some instances where I drew the Tarantula Toxin off of the Codex of Inertia trigger, but yeah, you need to be if you want to win this game. And what I definitely noticed is that I need to be smarter to play around prevention. I mean, I tried to bait him at times where I was making this as a deliberate decision to not give him the option to use this prevention later, where it was necessary for my turn, but he might felt it that way, and so he was incentivized to use Well Grounded, for example, or his shelters. But yeah, this is something where you always need to evaluate your turn. You should not rely on a dagger flick to hit, because Florians have access to so much prevention with Shelter, with Haunting Rendition, with Well Grounded. I mean, in theory, Calming Breeze, right? There are just a lot of options. Yeah, but these were 2 very interesting games. Sorry that it took me so long to make another video. I hope you can forgive me. And yeah, looking forward to see many of you at the world premiere in London in a few weeks. Come over, say hi. I would love to chat. And yeah, see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.